Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen here. Vandy accuses Tennessee of tampering. We're going to talk about that with one of their players. Also, we're going to talk about Olivier hits the portal. So we're going to talk about both of those issues. The first one involves Vanderbilt. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we just absolutely beat the dog crap out of that team last year? Let me try to refresh my memory. Yeah, right there, 56-0. So, yeah, I'm sure we were trying to get a bunch of their players. Let's see how those stats went. 513 yards for Tennessee, 254 for Vanderbilt. And let's see, didn't we run all over them because it was pouring down rain? 362 yards rushing. We had 5 guys who had runs of over 50 yards, as I recall. And Vandy had 147. And it was just an absolute rear end whooping. And as a matter of fact, I happen to have a brief summary of how that game went.
You dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Yep, that's how I remember it. You may remember it a little bit different, but I believe that's how I remember it. And here there's an article in Vandy 247, and Robbie Weinstein says there were some conversations when it said C.J. Taylor on potentially transferring to Tennessee. It says Vanderbilt linebacker C.J. Taylor emerged as one of the Commodores' top players with 59 tackles last year. And a source in Vanderbilt's football program that the Commodores believe in-state rival Tennessee tampered with Taylor, attempting to get him to transfer. When he was asked Thursday whether that claim is true, he said, yeah, there were some conversations there, Taylor said, but I'm glad to be here. Now, conversations, that could be a former high school coach. That could be, isn't his cousin, Alante Taylor, in the NFL? You know, a conversation could be Alante talking to him, say, man, you ought to transfer over to Tennessee. They could use you, or something along those lines. That would be a conversation. And Tennessee probably would have entertained him had he entered the transfer portal. But, I mean, that would go for every single player in the NCAA. They're going to look, but it doesn't mean that they're going to try to get the guy to enter the transfer portal. So this could be as simple as 2 cousins talking. And let's see his exact words, and I've got the little video of it.
There's some stuff out there that Tennessee tried to get you to hop in the portal. Is that true?
Yeah, there was some conversations there, but I'm glad to be here.
All right, so that's it. And again, conversations could have been between he and his cousin, or it could have been a former high school player or a former high school coach. It could be anything along those lines. Look, people are talking about this kind of stuff 24/7. We've got a guy that just entered the transfer portal in Olivier, which I'm getting ready to talk about. He probably talked to a former player or a high school coach or his, parents or whoever. That's conversations. That can be a conversation with somebody that played at another team. That doesn't mean anybody's tampering. So I think this is a heck of a reach, and it's going on everywhere where players are considering entering the transfer portal for the simple fact of, hey, that's where the money is. The first reason you might want to enter the portal is it gets your team's attention of, hey, you better take care of me. We had Jalen Wright do that last year. We had several players that threatened to do that. And once you go in the transfer portal, you can still come back, if the team wants you, and it might get you some of that. Or you might get more somewhere else. So I don't see the big deal about this. But, look, Vandy got beat 56-0. They're ill over this, and I can understand that. I mean, when you get absolutely stomped the way they did, they're probably upset about it, and they want to, attack Tennessee however they can. And the last thing they wanted was one of their decent players to transfer. So they're probably very ill about that. Now, I will give Vandy credit. They beat Florida last year, and they beat, who else? Kentucky. They beat a couple of okay teams there. So, I mean, good for them. They're doing well. I'm not sitting here ripping on them too much, but, I mean, we don't need your players, okay? We really don't. I'm sorry. 56-0, we just don't need them. Sorry. Well, hey, folks, I'm adding this to the video. I wanted to get some more information about C.J. Taylor's relations as far as cousins, and I wanted to show you this. This is a story on the Vanderbilt website from back in November of last year, and here it says C.J. Taylor, who was surrounded by exceptional talent, cousin Jawan Jennings started at Tennessee and is now a wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. cousin Alante Taylor, also a former Tennessee standout, is a cornerback for the New Orleans Saints. Cousin DJ Taylor is a linebacker at Bowling Green. So that makes a lot of sense there. It turns out 2 former Vols are cousins of CJ Taylor, and they're both in the NFL. So would it surprise you any if those 2 guys talked about him going to Tennessee? That's just family talking, okay? And they're former Vols, okay? So I don't see that as being tampering. That's just family talking. I mean, you don't think they're going to talk about that? So give me a break on all this crap. That's just family being family. Now let's talk about Tennessee basketball forward Olivier enters the transfer portal, and he did it this week. Actually, it was on Thursday. He's a graduate transfer. He has 1 year of eligibility left. I think that was because of COVID. He could decide to turn pro. I'm not interested in his average over 4 years. Let's look at what he did this year. Now, Olivier averaged over 10 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, and there's not been a lot of Vol players that have done that. He's a fine player. He had a 73 assists as a senior, which doubled his total through the first 3 seasons, so he played a lot. And he shot well. And, of course, he had a couple of fantastic games. Look, he pretty much won the Texas game for us and also the Duke game. He scored 27 points and just blew up in both of those games. And that's the thing about Olivier, man. Sometimes he just absolutely plays great, and then he'll disappear. I'm not sure why that is. Now, I don't think this has anything to do with playing time or anything along those lines. It's probably one of 2 things. Either, hey, pay me some money or more money, or it's, hey, I'm tired of playing all this focused on defense and I want to go somewhere where I can just totally focus on offense more. It could be something along those lines. I don't think it's playing time because he plays, he's a starter. And he's been playing all year a lot. And he got hurt last year, or he'd have played even more last year. So I don't think that's what it is. But, I can't blame these guys for entering the portal, or at least talking about it, because that's where the Benjamins are. And this may be his last opportunity to cash in, certainly as a college player. And then pros look, it's a crapshoot in the pros. Unless you're going in the first round of the NBA draft and probably pretty high, that money can be here one day and gone the next, and then you're playing in Europe a year or 2, and then you're done. So I do not blame him for doing this. It is what it is. He may end up coming back to Tennessee. Maybe the NIL money at Tennessee shows up for him in some way, shape, or form, or he talks to Rick Barnes and gets it worked out. You never know. Or he may end up transferring and we bring somebody else in. But this is just life in NIL world, and it's going to happen a lot. And he probably won't be the only player to enter transfer portal. It's going to happen a lot, and that's every team. So we just need to kind of get used to it. All right, folks, just wanted to cover this. Want to talk a little bit about Vandy's accusation and Olivier entering the portal. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover the Vols and all these crazy accusations that happen. I mean, they tried to accuse Rick Barnes a couple of weeks ago, and it turned out to be nonsense. So look, these things happen. It's not that big a deal. And if you have not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Be sure to hit that little button right there. It costs you nothing. Helps me out. I'd appreciate it. And right here's my most recent video. Be sure to check that out. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.